strong.
Welcome back to Crypto for Freedom, where we talk about gaining financial freedom through the cryptocurrency markets. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. Let's jump into the video. All right, you guys, Dogecoin. It's finally fallen out of this ascending parallel channel to the downside. I was kind of thinking we'd come back up to the upside, but it looks like Dogecoin had other plans. Now that Dogecoin's fallen out of this channel, are we going to see the reclaim and see Dogecoin come back into this channel, or are we going to see a back test and head further down? Make sure to stick around to the end of the video for my price prediction on Dogecoin for the end of 2025. All right, you guys, let's jump over to Bitcoin. It also looks like Bitcoin is falling out of this ascending triangle that it's been making all the way back here in 2021, finding resistance at the top of these bull markets and finding support at the bottom. Now, with Bitcoin falling out of this rising wedge to the downside, like we've been talking about, is this the end of the 4-year cycle? Was that the market peak over here in October of 2025? It seems like everything is lining up for that to be the case. The yellow line, the yellow vertical line right here is the halving. And we can see historically 562 days from the halving, we've seen a peak for Bitcoin. Happened back over here as well, 506 days past the halving. And to me, it would really make sense that Bitcoin would top out here in October. Although I do think Bitcoin could come back up and see one more high and possibly break this high, just to kind of fake everybody out. My price target for Bitcoin for the cycle was 180K, but I'm starting to get a little skeptical now if that's going to happen, just because the charts are kind of lining up. We've been making lower highs on the RSI and higher highs on the price. That's a bearish divergence, so that could push the price down. Now, if this was the top for Bitcoin, then I think we could be seeing diminishing losses with continued adoption, with institutional adoption, game theory playing out right before our eyes. In the last bear market, Bitcoin had a 76% retracement. And in the previous one, I believe it was an 83% retracement for Bitcoin in the 2017-2018 bear market. Yeah, 83%. So, I think we could be seeing Bitcoin drop anywhere from 70% to 75% in this bear market. That would bring Bitcoin all the way down to possibly 40K, maybe a little below 40K, and we could be seeing that bottom for Bitcoin around September or October of 2026, most likely October. And that's going to be the accumulation phase right there, you guys, where you're going to want to accumulate Bitcoin. That phase, a lot of people think that, that's going to be a good time to accumulate Dogecoin as well. But I kind of disagree with that. We can see that the first 7 years of Dogecoin's history, Dogecoin made lower highs against Bitcoin. And I think we're doing a very similar thing right now, creating another 7-year pattern, making lower highs against Bitcoin. And a lot of people think that when Bitcoin bottoms out, it's a good time to accumulate Dogecoin. But the thing is, that's not really the case, because Dogecoin is probably going to continue losing value against Bitcoin all the way until 2028. So the best thing to do would be to load up on Bitcoin in this area right here at the end of 2026, beginning of 2027, and then continuing to lose value against Bitcoin. And then you want to wait all the way until 2028, beginning of 2028. Then you can trade a little bit of your Bitcoin for Dogecoin for the next parabolic move. And it's kind of seeming like, Dogecoin is not going to get a new high this cycle, potentially. It could be in the cards. Anything's really possible. But if Dogecoin does what XRP did, where it didn't make a new high against the US dollar, it came up and made a lower high, and then went into another 3-year bear market to finally come up and break a new high above its previous high of, a dollar, or the high at $3.35. So you just never know what's going to happen in these markets, guys, and you just have to be prepared for the long term, have multiple different outcomes in mind. I really encourage people to have multiple streams of income, have an emergency fund, and be constantly stacking your assets, whether it's Bitcoin or Dogecoin. Having a plan and always beginning with the end in mind is going to be your way to success in the cryptocurrency market, you guys. Now let's jump back over to Bitcoin real quick, and you can see that Bitcoin is, on the weekly chart, Bitcoin is basically breaking through that 50-week moving average right now, the orange line on the chart right here. A lot of these analysts have been saying that they're going to be out. Benjamin Cohen said he's going to be out if Bitcoin goes below 100K and breaks this 50-week moving average. And you really got to do what's best for you and your family, and depends on what situation you're in. So you just have to remember that none of this is financial advice, but I want to hold my Bitcoin and Dogecoin for the long term, and I have been taking profits. So I've been taking profits every week basically in this whole area over here for the bull run. And I have, I've been having some realistic expectations with hopes of higher prices as well. And I think that, I think Bitcoin could still come up and make a new high this cycle by the end of the year and kind of fake everybody out on this dump right here. And then, maybe that's when we see Dogecoin actually come up, make a new high in this channel. And who knows, maybe it'll even come up and make a higher high than our previous high in 2024 and come up and make a new cycle high. But I'm starting to lose hope, you guys. And I have been selling off some of my Dogecoin position and just upgrading my lifestyle a little bit, because I just went through a move. I just went through a pretty devastating move, lost a lot of my stuff, had to replace a lot of my stuff. And I'm actually a lot better off now than I have been before. And life-changing gains might not mean, I'm driving a Lambo, but then I have everything I need. I have my family, and I have food on the table, and I have, friends and family and love in my life. So everything is really good. And, if you guys just hold that conviction for your plays, no matter what happens, you're going to end up making it. But we did end up seeing a double retest here, and we could see higher prices here. Who knows how high Dogecoin could go if we do see Bitcoin come up and make a parabolic move, because I think, something sneaky's happening here. Who knows? But, we saw last cycle, we saw a 30,000% move for Dogecoin, and the 2017 cycle, we saw a 10,000% move for Dogecoin. So if we were to see a 10,000% move from the bottom of the market, we could see Dogecoin coming all the way up to $6.28. But we have to be realistic with our targets, you guys, and realize that this might be, the end of the market here without seeing a new high. And, like I was saying, do what XRP did and just make a lower high in between cycles. So that's why you have to be very, convicted in your plays for the long term, or else you might as well just be in Bitcoin, you guys, because, Bitcoin is the most hardest, scarce asset the world's ever seen. Bitcoin is basically gobbling up everything, and whatever percentage you own of the entire network of Bitcoin, of the 21 million coins, is going to be the percentage of the entire world that you own. And just realize that, even real estate has been collapsing in terms of Bitcoin for many years now, and I'm sure it'll continue to collapse in terms of Bitcoin. And I'm pretty sure that one medium family house is going to cost 0.1 Bitcoin in the future. I don't know when, but I want to be around for that future where I can buy a house for 0.1 Bitcoin and set my family up with generational wealth to help my family, because I'm willing to sacrifice my own time and my own life to set my family up for success for my future generations. So are you willing to do that? If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. That really helps the algorithm. Also, remember, none of this is financial advice. If you want to check out all my other videos, you can go down below in the link in the description for the playlist link and go check out all those videos. And just thanks everybody for the continued support, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.